G'day YouTubers, I will review last week's round of the 2024 AFL season. Before I start, it will be appreciated if you can subscribe to my channel. Please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. The first game of the week is the Anzac Eve game between Richmond and Melbourne. The final score was Richmond 5 goals 12 42 to Melbourne 13 goals 7 85. The Demons won by 43 points. The goal kickers for Richmond were 2 goals to Maurice Rioli Jr. and singles to Bolton, Martin and Lafou. And for the Demons, Turner kicked 3 goals and 2 goals to Laurie, Pickett, Fritz and singles to Petrarca, Windsor, Gawn and Ranroyan. The best players for the Tigers were Baker, Hopper, Broad and Lafou. The best players for the Demons were May, Turner, Olivia, Gawn and Lever. Richmond suffered an injury with Hopper doing his hamstring. The first half was close, with Melbourne kicking 2 goals to 1 to lead by 6 points at quarter time. In the second quarter, Richmond won this quarter by kicking 2 goals to 1, with Richmond taking a 1 point lead at half time. Things were different in the second half. In the third quarter, Melbourne dominated by kicking 5 goals to 2 to take a 23 point lead at 3/4 time. And Melbourne continued this in the last quarter by kicking 5 goals to 1 to easily win by 43 points. For the Tigers, Daniel Rioli had 23 disposals, followed by Hopper and Baker, who both had 23 disposals each. For the Demons, Lever had 26 disposals, followed by Rivers and Langdon, both had 24 disposals each as well. For the stats, Melbourne were plus 23 in disposals, they were plus 36 in kicks, they were minus 13 in handballs. Inside 50 were even for both sides, with Melbourne's efficiency inside 50 14% more than Richmond, and that is a significant difference. In terms of hit outs, it was even. In clearances, Melbourne were plus 7. For mark, the Demons were plus 21, and the Demons led for 95% the game. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Jay Lever, who had 26 disposals, 10 marks, 2 clearances, and 330 metres gained. 2 votes to M. Gawn, Melbourne, who had 1 goal, 23 disposals, 10 marks, 3 tackles, 26 hit-outs, 5 clearances, and 289 metres gained. 1 vote to D. Turner, who had 3 goals, 13 disposals, 8 marks, 1 tackle, 380 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game is the traditional Anzac Day game between Essendon and Collingwood. The final score was Essendon 12 goals 13 85, Collingwood 12 goals 13 85. The game ended in a draw. The goal kickers for the Bombers were 4 goals to Langford, 2 goals to Wright, and singles to Martin, Davey, Draper, Parrish, Jones, and Stringer. For the Magpies, Milacek kicked 3 goals, 2 goals to Elliott, and singles to McCurry, Harrison, Jay Dacos, Schultz, Lipinski, Nick Dacos, and Hoskin Elliott. The best players for Essendon were McGrath, Stringer, Martin, Langford, and Merritt. For the Magpies, their best players were the 2 Dacos boys, Noble, Milacek, Moore, and Pendlebury. Essendon had an injury, with Jones suffering a nose injury. The Anzac Day award winner for the game was Zach Merritt. The game was close all day, with the game being a draw. However, Essendon kicked the first 4 goals of the game, and they had a 4-goal lead at quarter time by kicking 6 goals to 2. In the second quarter, Collingwood dominated by kicking 4 goals to 1 to only trail by a point at half time. In the third quarter, Collingwood kicked 3 goals to 2 to take a 1 point lead at 3/4 time. And in the final quarter, both teams kicked 3 goals, with Essendon scoring an extra behind in the quarter to tie the game, and the game ended up a draw. For the Bombers, Merritt had 31 disposals, followed by McGrath and Martin respectively, with 31 and 30 disposals each. For the Magpies, Nick Dacos had 27 disposals, followed by Pendlebury and Moore, with both having 23 disposals each. For the stats, we'll look on the Essendon side. The Bombers were plus 79 in disposals, they were plus 37 in kicks, plus 42 in handballs, and Essendon only led the inside 50 by 2. The efficient inside 50, Collingwood were +9 in this stat, so they did very good in this stat, but it was just a bit odd where the inside 50 for Collingwood was only -2. In terms of hit-outs, Essendon were +6, in clearances the Bombers were +17, and the centre clearance, Essendon were +11, and stoppages clearance they were +6. Essendon had 23 more marks, and they led for 75% of the game. Based on the stats, you think that Essendon won, but the game was a draw. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Z Merritt. Essendon, who had 31 disposals, 3 marks, 9 tackles, 6 clearances, and 522 minutes gained. 2 votes to N Martin. Essendon, who had 1 goal, 30 disposals, 4 marks, 4 tackles, 2 clearances, 417 minutes gained, and 2 goal assists. 1 vote to N Dacos, who had 1 goal, 27 disposals, 2 marks, 4 tackles, 2 clearances, 625 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game of the week is between GWS and Brisbane at Canberra. The final score were GWS 17 goals 11, 113 to Brisbane 8 goals 11, 59. The Giants won by 54 points. The goal kickers for the Giants were 3 goals to Riccardi and Brown, and 2 goals to Thomas, Perriman and Jones, and singles to O'Halloran, Kelly, Hogan, Tom Green and Cadman. For Brisbane, Rayner and Cameron both kicked 2 goals apiece, and singles to McCarthy, Lohman, Fort and Fletcher. The best players for the Giants were Whitfield, Kelly, Callahan, Green and Himmelberg. The best players for the Lions were Berry, Neal, McCluggage and Dunkley. Archie of the Brisbane Lions had suffered a hamstring injury. In the first quarter, the Giants kicked 4 goals to 2 to lead by 11 points at quarter time. In the second quarter, both teams kicked 4 goals apiece, with the Giants leading by 8 points at half time. In the third quarter, the Giants created an onslaught where they kept Brisbane goalless, whereas the Giants piled on 5 goals to take a 38-point lead at 3-quarter time. The Giants continued their onslaught in the last quarter by kicking 4 goals to 2 to win the game by 54 points. For the Giants, Tom Green had 37 disposals, followed by Cunningham and Whitfield with 32 and 31 disposals respectively. For the Lions, McCluggage had 26 disposals, followed by Neal and Lesser, who both had 21 disposals each. For the stats, the Giants were +87 in disposals, +42 in kicks, +45 in marks. The Giants were +5 in inside 50. The efficient inside 50 was +6. The Giants were +5 in stoppages, +4 in clearances, -4 in centre clearance, and +8 in stoppage clearances. The Giants were -12 in turnovers, which this stat is one of the most vital stats. You need to be in negative in turnovers. All the stats I've looked at so far, 95% of the teams in negative for turnovers win the game. The Giants had +23 in marks, and including inside 50, they were +8 for their marks inside 50. The Giants led for 90% of the match. They had 4 more defensive tackles than the Lions, and tackles inside 50, which is another vital stat. The Giants were +19 in this stat. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Tom Green, GWS, who had 1 goal, 37 disposals, 5 marks, 5 tackles, 7 clearances, 428 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to F. Callahan, who had 32 disposals, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 2 clearances, and 614 minutes gained. 1 vote to H. Himmelberg, who had 27 disposals, 12 marks, 569 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game of the week is between Port Adelaide and St Kilda on a Friday night. The final score were Port Adelaide 11 goals 16, 82 to St Kilda 11 goals 6, 72. The Power won by 10 points. The goal kickers for the Power were 4 goals to Dixon, 2 goals to Rioli, and singles to Burne-Jones, Georgiades, Powell Pepper, Rosie, and Wines. For the Saints, both Higgins and Owens both kicked 2 goals apiece, with singles to Canamini, Cordy, Hill, Membre, Philippou, Sharman, and Sinclair. The best players for the Power were Houston, Wines, Dixon, Butters, and Drew, whereas for the Saints, their best players were Wilkie, Wilson, Wangding Miller, and Sinclair. Port Adelaide suffered a number of injuries. Alia suffered a concussion injury with the sling tackle. Powell Pepper did his ACL knee injury and will be missing the entire of 2024 season. And Rosie did his hamstring. St Kilda jumped off to a good start. They kicked 3 goals to 1 to lead by 7 points at quarter time. In the second quarter, the Power kicked 5 goals to 2 to lead by 10 points at halftime. In the third quarter, both teams kicked 3 goals apiece, with the Power still leading by 10 points. In the final quarter, St Kilda kicked 3 goals to 2, with the Power winning by 10 points. For the stats, Butters had 27 disposals, followed by Burgoyne and Houston with 27 and 26 disposals respectively. For the Saints, Sinclair had 28 disposals, followed by Wanganing Miller and Bonner with 26 and 22 disposals respectively. For the team stats, the Power were plus 38 in disposals, they were plus 30 in kicks, they were plus 8 in handballs, the Power were plus 7 inside 50, the Power's efficient inside 50 was plus 19 more than St Kilda. That's a significant big difference. And the Power were plus 15 in free kicks. In terms of stoppages, for the hitouts, the Power were plus 11, and this is having Sweet as their reserve ruckman playing with Soldo being injured. In clearances, the Power was plus 4, including the centre clearance, they were plus 2. The Power were plus 21 in contested possession and plus 24 in uncontested possession, and they were minus 7 in turnovers, which is a very vital stat. All teams are negative in turnovers usually win, or at least 9% of the teams usually win when they're negative in turnovers. For the marks, the Power were plus 25, and inside 50, their marks were plus 5 more than the Saints, with plus 6 in contested marking. The Power led for 70% of the game, and defensively, they laid 28 more tackles, and inside 50, they were plus 10 in tackles. So looking at those stats, it appears the Power dominated, but they only won by 10 points, as St Kilda played a tight game for the whole duration of the night. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to Z Butters. Port Adelaide, he had 27 disposals, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 5 clearances, and 504 metres gained. 2 votes to J Sinclair. St Kilda, he had 1 goal, 28 disposals, 4 marks, 4 tackles, 4 clearances, 665 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. 1 vote to C Dixon. Port Adelaide, who kicked 4 goals, 10 disposals, 3 marks, 3 tackles, 9 hitouts, and 116 metres gained. The next game in the mix is between North Melbourne versus Adelaide. The final score were North Melbourne 12 goals 9, 81 to Adelaide 20 goals 18, 138. The goal kickers for the Kangaroos were 3 goals to Zerha, 2 goals to Dersma and Larky, and singles to Lorazzo, Davies Giniaki, Wardlaw, Tucker, and Powell. The goal kickers for the Crows were 4 goals to Rankin, 3 goals to Cook, 2 goals to Keys, Himmelberg, and Walker, and singles to Fogarty, McHenry, Scholl, Laird, Dawson, Jones, and Pedler. The best players for the Kangaroos were Wardlaw, Davies Giniaki, Sheasel, and Zerha. The best players for the Crows were Walker, Dawson, Crouch, Rankin, and Laird. The Crows suffered an injury with Pedler doing his shoulder. For the game, the Crows kicked 5 goals to 2 in the first quarter to take a 20-point lead at quarter time. They continued their domination by kicking 6 goals to 4 in the second quarter to lead by 35 points at half time. In the third quarter, the Crows continued their onslaught by kicking 5 goals to 1 to lead by 55 points at 3/4 time. And in the final quarter, the Kangaroos kicked 5 goals to 4, and they only lost to the Crows by 57 points. For the Kangaroos, Macherka, playing back home in Tasmania, had 32 disposals, followed by Sheasel and Davies Giniaki, who both had 29 disposals. For the Crows, Laird had 34 disposals, followed by Scholl and Dawson with 29 and 27 disposals, respectively. For the stats, the Crows were plus 66 in disposals, they were plus 27 in kicks, plus 39 in handballs. The Crows were plus 19 inside 50. Their efficient inside 50 was plus 15%. The Crows were minus 4 in free kicks. In terms of stoppages, for hitouts, the Crows were plus 1, and clearances, the Crows were plus 9, and the centre clearances, they broke even with the Kangaroos, and for the stoppage clearances, the Crows were plus 9. In terms of marks, the Crows were plus 34, and marks inside 50, the Crows were plus 18, and for contested, they were plus 16 in marks for contested. In terms of turnovers, the Crows were minus 9, and the Crows had led for 100% of the match. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to R. led Adelaide, who had 1 goal, 34 disposals, 3 marks, 6 tackles, 13 clearances, 440 metres gained, and 2 goal assists. 2 votes to I. Rankin, Adelaide, who had 4 goals, 17 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 6 clearances, 310 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. 1 vote to J. Dawson, who had 1 goal, 27 disposals, 9 marks, 4 tackles, 3 clearances, 769 minutes gained, and 2 goal assists. The next game is between Geelong and Carlton at the MCG. The final score were Geelong 18 goals 10, 118 to Carlton 15 goals 15, 105. The Cats won by 13 points. The goal kickers for the Cats were 5 goals to Cameron, 3 goals to Henry and Tui, and 2 goals to Meyer, and singles to Glickas, Dangerfield, Holmes, Stengel, and Bowers. The Blues had multiple goal kickers kicking 2 goals, and they were Cripps, Akers, Elijah Hollins, and McKay, and singles to Kennedy, Boyd, Carroll, and Cottrell. The best players for the Cats were Cam Guthrie, Tui, Holmes, Cameron, and Myers. The best players for the Blues were Walsh, Akers, Wiedering, McKay, and Cripps. Dangerfield for the Cats had suffered a hamstring injury. Geelong won the first quarter by kicking 5 goals to 2 to take a 14-point lead at quarter time. In the second quarter, Geelong won this quarter as well by kicking 5 goals to 4 to lead by 14 points at half time. In the third quarter, Carlton won this quarter by scoring 5 goals to 3 to only trail by 8 points at 3-quarter time. And in the final quarter, the Cats ran away by kicking 5 goals to 4 and to slightly win by just 13 points. For the Cats, Guthrie had 27 disposals, followed by Holmes and Duncan with 26 and 24 disposals respectively. For the Blues, Walsh had 31 disposals, followed by Cripps and Akers with 29 and 28 disposals respectively. For the stats, the Cats were minus 35 in disposals, they were minus 24 in kicks, they were minus 11 in handballs. Inside 50, the Cats were minus 21. However, the Cats were plus 17% in their efficiency inside 50. So even though the Cats had way less inside 50, they were so efficient inside 50 and punished every time the ball went inside 50. The free kicks, the Cats were minus 4. In terms of stoppages, for hitouts, the Cats were minus 10. And in clearances, they were minus 6, including centre clearance where they were minus 3. In terms of turnovers, the Cats was plus 2. I rarely see a team that is positive in turnovers win the game. Geelong led for 98% of the game. Based on stats, you think Carlton dominated and would have won the game, but the Cats were just so efficient inside 50, even though they were way below inside 50. But having Cameron and with his other fellow goal kickers, they just punished the Blues for every time that the ball went inside their 50. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to J. Cameron, Geelong, who had 5 goals, 17 disposals, 9 marks, 1 tackle, 2 clearances, 370 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to P. Cripps, Carlton, who had 2 goals, 29 disposals, 4 marks, 6 tackles, 8 clearances, 359 minutes gained, and 1 goal assist. 1 vote to S. Walsh, Carlton, who had 31 disposals, 7 tackles, 4 clearances, and 269 minutes gained. The next game is between Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. Fremantle kicked 14 goals 11, 95 to the Bulldogs 10 goals 11, 71. The Dockers won by 24 points. The goal kickers for the Dockers were 3 goals to Banfield and Tracy, and 2 goals to Jackson and Frederick, and singles to Young, Walters, Wass, and Fife. For the Bulldogs, Darcy kicked 3 goals, and 2 goals to Norton and Dale, and singles to West, Vandermeer, and English. The best players for the Dockers were Young, Brayshaw, H, Tracy, Fife, and Sarong. For the Bulldogs, their best players were English, Jones, Treloar, Darcy, and Dale. Both teams suffered injuries, with Fremantle player in Draper suffering a hamstring injury, and Waitman of the Bulldogs suffering an elbow injury. In the first quarter, Fremantle kicked 4-3 to take an 8-point lead at quarter time. In the second quarter, the Bulldogs won this quarter by kicking 4-3 and Fremantle taking a slight lead of 3 points at the half-time break. In the third quarter, the Dockers kicked 3-2 to lead by 5 points at 3-quarter time. And in the final quarter, where the Dockers won this quarter pretty easily, they scored 4-1 to win by 24 points. For the Dockers, Sarong had 37 disposals, followed by Fife and Brayshaw with 37 and 30 disposals respectively. For the Bulldogs, they all had 30 disposals, followed by Treloar and Pontepelli with 29 and 27 disposals respectively. For the stats, Fremantle were plus 23 in disposals, they were plus 3 in kicks, they were plus 20 handballs. Inside 50, the Dockers were plus 2, and their efficient inside 50, the Dockers were plus 11%. In terms of free kicks, Fremantle were minus 4. For the stoppages in hitouts, the Dockers were plus 13, and clearances, they were plus 17, and for the centre clearance, they were plus 4. With the stoppage clearances, the Dockers were being plus 13. In terms of turnovers, the Dockers were plus 11, and another game where it's rare where you are positive in turnovers and you win the game. Normally teams are negative in turnovers 90% of the time, normally wins the game. For the marks, the Dockers were minus 8, however, marks inside 50, the Dockers were plus 6, and they were plus 1 in contested marks. Fremantle led for 96% of the game. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to C. Sarong, Fremantle, who had 37 disposals, 2 marks, 4 tackles, 17 clearances, 249 minutes game, and 1 goal assist. 2 votes to N5, Fremantle, who had 1 goal, 37 disposals, 3 marks, 4 tackles, 7 clearances, 443 minutes game, and 1 goal assist. And 1 vote to B. Dale, Western Bulldogs, who had 2 goals, 30 disposals, 9 marks, 3 tackles, 1 clearance, 588 minutes game, and 1 goal assist. The next game is between Gold Coast and West Coast. The final score were Gold Coast 17 goals 10, 112 to West Coast 12 goals 3, 75. The Suns won by 37 points. The goal kickers for the Suns were 3 goals to King, 2 goals to Ainsworth, Rao, Anderson and Walter, and singles to Day, Fiorini, Graham, Humphrey, Rogers and Witts. For the Eagles, Waterman kicked 4 goals and 2 goals to Cripps and Darling, and singles to Marek, Petricelli, Ryan and Yo. The best players for the Suns were Miller, Powell, Rao, Anderson and Witts. The best players for the Eagles were Yo, McGovern, Dygan and Waterman. Closely of Gold Coast suffered a shoulder injury. In the first quarter, West Coast won this quarter by kicking 3-2 to take a 4-point lead at quarter time. In the second quarter, the Suns kicked 5-4 to take a 3-point lead at half time. In the third quarter, Gold Coast exploded and won this quarter pretty easily. The Suns kicked 6-1 to take a 34-point lead at 3-quarter time. In the final quarter, both teams kicked 4 goals apiece, with the Suns winning by 37 points. For the Suns, Anderson had 33 disposals, followed by Miller and Rao with 27 and 22 disposals respectively. For the Eagles, Dygan had 26 disposals, followed by Cole and Yo with 20 and 19 disposals respectively. For the stats, the Suns were plus 46 in disposals, in kicks they were plus 9, and in handballs they were plus 37. Inside 50s, that was a significant difference. The Suns were plus 32 in this area, and for efficient inside 50, the Suns were minus 10%. However, due to the nature of volume for the inside 50s, it didn't really matter with the efficiency inside 50 being negative 10 for the Suns because they had so much inside 50s. In terms of free kicks, the Suns were plus 12. The Suns totally dominated for Witts in ruck. They were plus 41. In hitouts, in clearances, the Suns were plus 17. And in centre clearance, they were plus 12. And the stoppage clearances, the Suns were plus 5. In terms of turnovers, the Suns were minus 5. And the Suns led for 70% of the game. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow votes are 3 votes to N. Anderson, Gold Coast, who had 2 goals, 33 disposals, 2 marks, 4 tackles, 12 clearances, and 508 metres gained. 2 votes to T. Miller, Gold Coast, who had 27 disposals, 1 mark, 10 tackles, 6 clearances, 286 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. 1 vote to J. Waterman, West Coast, who had 4 goals, 15 disposals, 7 marks, 1 tackle, 336 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. The next game is between Hawthorn and Sydney, played at the MCG, for which 38,052 people attended the game. The final score was Hawthorn 5 goals 12-42 to Sydney 18 goals 10-118. The goal kickers for the Hawks were all singles to Newcombe, Chol, Meek, Moore and Hardwick. For the Swans, Heaney and McDonald both kicked 3 goals, and 2 goals to Vicks and Haywood, and singles to McLean, Jordan, Warner, Adams, Papalic, Amati, Florin and Gordon. The best players for the Hawks were Day, Mackenzie and Warpel. The best players for the Swans were Gordon, Blakey, Rowbottom, McDonald, Heaney and McCartan. There were no injuries for either sides. In the first quarter, the Swans had a good start and ran away by kicking 6 goals to 2 and had a 25-point lead at quarter time. In the second quarter, the Swans continued their onslaught by kicking 4 goals to 1 to take a 7-goal lead at half time. In the third quarter, the Swans continued their domination by kicking 5 goals to 1 to take a 58-point lead at 3-quarter time. And in the final quarter, the Swans won this quarter again by kicking 3 goals to 1 to run away with a 76-point win. For the Hawks, Moore had 25 possessions, followed by Sicily and Newcombe, who both had 24 disposals each. For the Swans, Blakey had 30 disposals, followed by Florent and Lloyd with 28 and 26 disposals respectively. Based on the stats, the Swans were plus 67 in disposals, they were plus 59 in kicks, they were plus 8 in handballs, inside 50 they were plus 3, their efficient inside 50 was a lot, plus 16%, that's a significant big difference, and the Swans were plus 6 in free kicks. In terms of stoppages for hitouts, they were plus 20, clearances the Swans were minus 5, and also the Swans were minus 5 in centre clearance, but the Swans broke even in the stoppage clearances. For turnovers, the Swans were minus 4, and the Swans led for 98% of the game. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 votes to N. Blakey, who had 30 disposals, 12 marks, 2 tackles, 481 metres gained. 2 votes to I. Heaney, who kicked 3 goals, had 21 disposals, 3 marks, 3 tackles, 4 clearances, 358 metres gained, and 1 goal assist. 1 vote to O. Fallon, Sydney, who had 1 goal, 28 disposals, 4 tackles, 1 clearance, and 697 metres gained. The summary for my round 7 Brownlow votes are: in first spot with 15 votes is I. Heaney of Sydney. Following in second spot is C. Sarong of Freeman with 13 votes. And a group of players in third spot on 11 votes are Tom Green, GWS, N. Anderson, Gold Coast, and Z. Butters of Port Adelaide. And that's my summary for my round 7 Brownlow votes. And so far, I. Heaney is leading the votes. That's the end, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment on my channel. Every subscriber will be appreciated.